Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Win TV. I am Micha Green, managing editor, and it's a great day in the neighborhood. It's always a good day anytime we wake up, right? But it's always wonderful when you get to chat with your friends who are doing amazing things and inspiring you every day. And Kymone Freeman is absolutely one of those people. First of all, Kymone, before we even get into the nitty gritty, how are you doing today?
I am mourning and celebrating the life of Harry Belafonte,
Yes.
Mr. B, as we know him, and I had the honor of spending a few evenings with him, um, 3 evenings actually. So he was a big inspiration to me, and acknowledging him is how I want to open. And he signed a mug shot of a young Martin Luther King. I think it was the first time Martin Luther King got arrested. We keep that in our storefront window. We're right on the radical side of Martin Luther King Avenue, and he signed it. And it was just a big moment for me, and the advice he gave me and the legacy he has left us, and the lessons that he have taught us. And I want to say this as well, that we need to realize that Harry Belafonte was disinvited to speak at Coretta Scott King's funeral at the request of George Bush. So we need to make sure that we understand that sometimes we forget the sacrifices people have made.
Absolutely. And I thank you for lifting up Baba Belafonte. Absolutely. He is completely, I say, one of the people who have inspired my artivism. You are quite the artivist as well. And his book, My Song, his autobiography, really changed my life in so many ways. That
Wow.
notion of the artist being the gatekeeper of truth just opened my eyes and worldview to so much. And so thank you for lifting him up in so many ways. And, I think that's a perfect transition to the work that you're doing every day. Obviously, we know you as a celebrated playwright, artist, co founder of We Act Radio, killing it on the airwaves, obviously out there and in the community, making a difference every single day as an activist. But you are a celebrated author. And this book here is doing exactly what people like Mr. Belafonte and the Paul Robinsons of the world wanted us to do, which is use our craft and our arts to inform people about really, really challenging issues here in our society. And so tell us a little bit about your new book released on March 22nd, Nineveh.
Yeah, March 22nd was World Water Day. It was released, published by Strong Arm Press, independent publishing house. So shout out to them for showing the brothers some love, and because they generally don't work with fiction writers. This is a first for them, so they took a chance on me with this. So I wanted to acknowledge that. But sometimes fiction it bears more reality than
Yeah.
reality. Because they say reality is stranger than fiction, because fiction has to make sense. Reality doesn't.
Right.
And so it doesn't make sense when we say that the Flint water crisis that's still going on. They still have tainted water with lead in it in Flint today. But it doesn't make sense that when you put out a map, you will see that Flint is a stone's throw away from the Great Lakes, the largest fresh body of water in North America. So how can you possibly have a problem with the quality of water when you're that close to the largest fresh body of water on the continent?
Yeah.
Unless there's some corruption, unless there's water crimes being committed. And what people don't realize is that Nestle, we know them for chocolate, but they was paying the state of Michigan $200 a year to pump over 1 million gallons of water a day and sell it to you. So these are the things that come up in this story. But Nineveh is a beautiful, captivating story, a cautionary tale of the a world where the polar ice caps have melted, some cities have submerged, some new cities have emerged, and water has been priced beyond the affordability of the masses, forced them to collect rainwater, which constitutes the new contraband. So there lies the struggle, because the Global Water Corporation, a fascist regime, has taken over the last oasis on the planet. It's a very vicious society, dystopian society, oil depleted society, and only the people that can capture rainwater are able to stay woke, because, as old folks would say, something is in the water. So,
Hmm.
I put a woman as the protagonist in this book. Thought that was important to show my opposition to the current world order, because if we're talking about dismantling the 500-year institution of white supremacy brick by brick, the antithesis of a white male dominated patriarch society will be a black woman
Hmm.
patriarch society. And I have no shame in saying that, because we need to realize that in our own iterations, we're acknowledging the virtues of a matriarch society. When we say mother land, mother earth, mother nature, mother ship, we are invoking a matriarch society. Look, when we was kids, you could say something about somebody's father all day. They might even agree with you. But you say something about their mother, regardless of their relationship with her, it's on and
Yeah.
popping. So I put this woman up there to be a visual opposition to all of that. So the reality is that we all been exploited when it comes to water. My grandmother told me when I was a child that they was gonna sell water one day. I looked at lady in her face and said, "Grandma, you crazy? Water's free." You know. And so she was of the mindset that the American apartheid system was basically symbolized by the water fountains, the color only and white only signs. And she said when those signs came down that they was going to make us pay for that. And what she means is that you saw a disappearance of those water fountains after those signs came down. You saw an eroding of the public confidence in the public water supply after those signs came down, and an introduction of a commodified product to sale. I'm a little older than you, Miss Meek, but your parents, when they was younger, they would, if someone had asked them to buy a bottle of water, they would have laughed at them. But now we are doing it freely. And if you buy individual bottles of water, you're now paying more for water than you are gas today. you
Hmm.
know. So we need to understand that we're being exploited, and that even Kamala Harris has acknowledged that the next war would be over water. No one's acknowledging that. So I feel like that I wanted to put some paint where it ain't, and bring some attention to this issue by telling a captivating story and a cautionary tale that will hopefully wake up the masses.
Well, thank you for your bravery in telling this story and your creativity. As you said, reality is sometimes, it just should not make sense the way it does. At least fiction, we can say, oh, well, this is a dystopian universe. But obviously, you've seen up close and personal how water can, or the lack thereof of clean water, can affect people. I know you've traveled all around the world, and as you said, we see it here in Flint, we have it in Jackson, Mississippi. But tell us some of the personal experiences you've had with witnessing the challenges that come from a water crisis.
Well, I this book, this is my first novel. It's a pandemic baby. So it was during the pandemic that I sat down and really fleshed this thing out. But the story started um, in the summer of '04. In summer '04, I spent that time in Nairobi, Kenya, sponsored by American Friends Service Committee, the good Quaker organization, the good white folks. Paid a brother to spend a summer there, and it was a leadership conference. I learned a lot, but we was told not to drink the water. We was told that we had to use bottled water to brush our teeth, that we should bathe with our mouths closed. Don't let it get in your eyes, and don't let them put ice in your drinks in restaurants. And I'm like, but the people that live here is drinking this stuff. And they were saying, well, they built up an immunity. And so, and then poor people who couldn't afford to buy water was drinking tainted water. And so the image that is seared into my brain is that of a little boy who is wearing. Now, I got me back up right here. One of the largest imports to sub-Saharan Africa is used clothing. So when you give clothes to Goodwill or Salvation Army or whatever, they're not giving that stuff away for free. They sell it. Okay. However, it might be pennies on a pound, but it's still been sold. So what happens is those clothes come into African countries, and these huge giant pallets, they like wired together like bales of cotton. And so what happens is those clothes are invoking a Walmart, Amazon business model, because poor people are going to buy the cheapest product. So when those clothes come in, it's cheaper for them to purchase those clothes than to purchase their own African clothing that's made by themselves. So that basically destroys the domestic textile industry in those countries, creating more misery, put more people out of work. And that's why you would see a little child in a slum in Africa wearing a "Get Rich or Die Trying" T-shirt on, getting dirty water out of a stream with a goat drinking out of it just a few yards away. That's the image. So I wanted to explain how they not only destabilize countries, but also why a child would be wearing a "Get Rich or Die Trying" T-shirt in one of the largest slums in Africa. So, and then, I come home and then I see how people just carelessly throw water away, and by the year 2050, it's been predicted that there would be more plastic in the ocean than fish. So if I don't do anything else but promote a ban on plastic bottle waters and get people to wean themselves off of that and get containers and carry their own water, get filters on their house, recognize their water sources, this would be worth the struggle. But that is where it started in 2004. I started this as a screenplay in 2007, and it was a stage reading, a successful stage reading with actors. And I think that's where my secret sauce as a writer comes in, because starting as a playwright, I think equipped me to be a better novelist, because after hearing actors read back to me, because I tell people all the time, writers are strange people,
Yes.
writers, you almost got to be crazy to write, because
Yes.
you have to listen to the voices in your head and record them accurately enough to convince other people that they can hear those voices too. So that's a little trick. So that's why I use the Ernest Hemingway writing method, and that's write drunk, edit sober. So, that worked for me. So it started in 2007 as a screenplay, but I didn't get it off the ground then. But fortunately, because it was presented before an audience, there was plenty of people that was aware of the project. So whenever a water crisis popped up, somebody would say to me, "What's up? Why are you not doing this?" Why? And I would make all kinds of excuses. And then Mazi Mustafa from Words, Beats, and Life said, "Why don't you just write the book?" And I'm like, "Man, I ain't got time to write a book. I got, get this rent money." And then the pandemic came along and said, "Here you are. What are you going to do with it?" And I'm proud that I used my time wisely. But this is, I want people to understand that this is not how it should be. We're being exploited. The best tap water in the world is found in Finland. Finland doesn't have bottled water. There's no bottled water for sale in Finland. You know why? Because they got the world's best tap water. No, there's no market for it. No one's willing to pay for the water because it's free in Finland. Why is it different in America and other places? Because Finland is a homogeneous, almost 100% white country, and America is not. And if you look around anywhere in this country where you have a water crisis on a municipal level, it's primarily a community of color. So from Jackson water crisis, the Flint water crisis, Detroit even had issues. You're going to continue to see that. Baltimore had issues. Here in D.C., D.C. Water had originally projected that it would take them 100 years to replace all the lead pipes in this city, right? And I'm like, 100 years? Why is it going to take 100 years to replace all the lead pipes? It's going to take 100 years to install all the damn lead pipes to begin with. So why is it going to take 100 years to replace them? That's just off the muscle. So I had a problem with that. And it reached a breaking point when they then simultaneously announced that they were building these aqueducts. And if you drive around DC, you've seen the streets tore up. That was DC Water building these aqueducts. So what it does is that it accommodates the stormwater drainage, the runoff. When it rains heavy, the sewers overflood into the river. That's why the river is brown, because it's dirty, you know.
Right.
But when they turn these aqueducts on, that won't happen anymore. And it will clean the river by like 90% overnight. You know what I'm saying? So turn it from brownish to, you know what I'm saying, light brown. I don't know if it's going to ever be blue. But they said the river will be clean enough for people to swim in and kayak on. I'm like, okay, so you cleaning the river for those people so they can swim and kayak, right?
Yeah.
But these people who still have lead in their water, I'm saying it's gonna take them 100 years. Like, that's not, so that was a problem. I pointed that out. A couple of tweets went viral. And then the then general manager of DC Water, George Hawkins, came into our studio and addressed it. But you know, he's out. Then a new guy's in, and now DC Water has said that all of the lead pipes will be replaced by year 2030. Now, how are you going to go from 100 years to less than 10 years unless you have what Martin Luther King called a revolution of values? So I like to say that we had something to do with that. And I think that people need to understand is that the system's only going to move as far as it is pushed or dragged. Okay. And I think that this book, Conflict Over Water Set in the Future, is a cautionary tale, celebrates resistance, gives us the information we need to move forward, tells the history of how water has been weaponized. And we need to realize that this is something that is happening. It is happening. This is not like, oh, this is just a good read. Oh, this is just a cute story. No, this is destined to become a film, major motion picture that is in the works. And it's unfortunately destined to become a worldwide crisis if we don't do something differently.
Well, we are so proud of and inspired by you. And like I said, your fearlessness to tell this story and in a creative way, raise awareness.
And with Harry Belafonte is only one way to be, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I think I know our time is limited, but I have to ask. Obviously, we want people to purchase the book. And so I'll make sure that we put that plug out there. But how can we also get active and more aware about the water crisis here in DC as well as nationally?
Well, first let me say that the books is on sale at Sankofa Video and Bookstore here in Washington D.C., Mahogany Books, and all Busboys and Poets locations. I urge people to go to those bookstores if they have the wherewithal to do so. We hope to get in other stores forthcoming, and of course, you can find it online wherever you find books. But I hope that Amazon or Walmart would be your last choice selections, because there's plenty of places you can find it online. Okay. Yes. We need to become conscious consumers. People don't even realize that Amazon started out as a bookstore, and gobbled up the industry. Okay. So I would urge people to be, be proactive and use vote with their dollars and pray with their feet, and make sure that they're not continuously blindly supporting a system that is oppressing them. But May 18th, we have an environmental justice forum, and I'm speaking on obviously the water crisis there, and I will be announcing that we're launching a campaign to ban plastic bottled water in Washington D.C. Because it's the least we can do to set a national standard. We want to eventually get into a whole ban on plastic to begin with, because plastic itself is actually a toxic component that's actually polluting the water that we have. Not only this, they're predicting that there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish, but we ourselves are consuming a credit card worth of plastic a week. They found in women's placentas. So we need to understand that plastic is a byproduct of oil. So one of the good things in my story is that it's an oil depleted society. So plastic is not even gone. And people, you can't get rid of the plastic. You can't do it. I'm like, look, bro, if a man can change his sex to a woman and become Woman of the Year, we can stop using plastic. Like, what are you talking about? We can do anything. What are you talking about? We didn't have plastic 100 years ago. So, why we got in there? Because it's profitable, and we understand that capitalism is actually a problem. And I want people to understand that you really need to question that at some point this system has to change, because Kamala Harris, when she said that the next war would be over water, she still kept referring to water as a commodity. If she's acknowledging that there's a war going to be fought over water, then why is it being viewed as a commodity? Why is it not being viewed as a human right? Oh, because housing is not viewed as a human right in this country. Healthcare is not viewed as a human right in this country. It's a pay to play. Even though this country spends more on healthcare than any country in the entire world, they have the worst outcomes. You know what I'm saying? America's not even the top 10 in healthcare. It had the most deaths in COVID. The most deaths of any country in the entire world of COVID was in America. Why? Because people don't have access to healthcare.
Yeah.
So as I think that the water issue is the straw that breaks the camel back, because you can't get any more basic than that. You can't get any more basic than that. Can I have a glass of water?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I want people to understand that when you purchase a bottle of water, you are being exploited. Because think about it. Just think, if this bottle of water and this juice or that soda or whatever is selling at the same price, which one do you think has the higher profit margin? They didn't make the water, but these products was produced and created. So there's a much higher cost in the manufacturing of these products than the water. That's the biggest money maker. So we need to understand that we've been exploited. In fact, some of the companies already acknowledge that it's nothing but tap water to begin with. Aquafina is tap water. I think that's Pepsi Corporation. Dasani is tap water. That's Coca-Cola Corporation, and a couple others. So we need to understand that we've been exploited, and not to mention that we don't trust the tap water, so that's why we buy the bottled water. You sound crazy, because the government that you pay your taxes to is responsible for the municipal water, but there's no the FDA doesn't regulate the bottled water industry. So you going by what that company tells you. You hope they're telling you the truth. You hope that this is a superior product. You know what I'm saying? But all you really need to do, at least in America, unless you're living in Flint or Jackson, Mississippi, where the water has been weaponized, of course. But you get a filter in at home, put it on your faucet, put a filter on your pitcher. That's 2 times. You're good to go.
Yeah.
You're good to go, and carry your water around with you. Start there, educate others. But watch what happens when on May 18th, when we jump out here and start trying to ban plastic water bottles, and see how many Negroes gonna sit there and try to defend. You can't tell me what you gonna tell. And without even understanding what the issue is, because we are often our own worst enemies. And the greatest power is convincing people they don't have any. And I'm honored that this book has made enough noise to bring me here with you. I'm also going to be at the St. Martin Book Festival next month. So I'm going from DC to international release. Our Spanish translation is about to be released. We're going to do a release event in Havana, Cuba. And we're working with some people to get this as a major motion picture. It's a revolution. And I want to say this is that, in the spirit of Harry Belafonte, Dr. Martin Luther King, we are all familiar with his last speech, but we're not as familiar with his next to his last speech, which was entitled Remaining Awake During a Great Revolution. He goes on to say in that speech that far too often people live in periods of great social change, but yet they fail to develop the new ideas, the new mental responses that the new situation demands. They end up sleeping through a revolution. I submit to you that's the quintessential definition of stay woke. But we have people that look like us that's chiming out our enemies by turning it into a pejorative. Oh, you one of those woke people. Yeah, you one of those unconscious people. You know what I'm saying? American dream.
Right.
You got to be asleep to believe it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get people to stay woke on this issue. This is it. You can't get no more foundational than the issue of water. And it's not just a foreign issue. It's not just the 25,000 people that die every day in Asia, Africa, Latin America, simply because they don't have access to clean water. We ain't got no further than right here in this country to see how water has been weaponized. And unless we're going to do something different, we will continue to be brutalized by it.
That's a mic drop for us. I cannot thank you enough for your willingness to be here. And again, I'm so
Can I do a
proud and
shout
so
out?
inspired. Absolutely.
Can I do
Shout
a shout out?
everybody out.
I told you I'm trying to make this into a motion picture, ladies and gentlemen, boys and
Yes.
girls, brothers and sisters, friends and enemies. And on the back of this book, I've already got the support of Shaka King. He's the director of the 5-time Oscar-nominated film Judas and the Black Messiah. That tells the
Yes.
story of Fred Hampton, the assassinated FBI assassinated Black Panther. Gave Daniel Kaluuya his first Oscar win. This is what he had to say about the work. He said, "There is great utility to escapist art, but this novel threads the needle pretty damn well by refusing to not acknowledge trauma just to make a piece of entertainment." And that's Shaka King right there.
Wow.
So I'm honored to have his name associated with this work. That plug right there is invaluable. So my first product, I don't want to say product. My first production I put out was Prison Poetry, and it sold out at Lincoln Theater. We put it as a DVD. Sam Greenlee from the Spook Who Sat by a Door, wrote a plug for that. So for my first production, Sam Greenlee, Spook Who Sat by a Door, put a plug on it. And for my current one, I now have an Oscar-nominated director. So I'm honored and blessed and humbled that some people are already acknowledging the validity of the work. And these are my day ones, and you're day one. And so you're gonna be there with me on the red carpet when this comes out as a major motion picture. So I just want to make sure that you understand that watch the Informer is coming with us. You know.
Absolutely. And look, I'm gonna just throw my little plug in there that, don't forget that I started as an actor. Okay. I'm cool
Ah,
with, I'm cool being background,
well, if you look at the cover of the book, it look like that could be your silhouette, young
it
lady.
really
That could be your
could.
silhouette.
Look, Zeta said don't steal her spot.
That
look,
could be your
look, I
silhouette.
won't steal your spot on the red carpet. And it's a matrilineal tale. So it's enough room for a lot of women in the film, it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah. And so I read the plug on the back of the book. Let me read the opening, because this is dedicated to Damu Smith, who's a DC legendary activist, environmental justice activist. I just want to give this some flowers to him. This says, "I see in the near future a crisis approaching that unnerves me to tremble for the safety of my country. Corporations have been enthroned, and an era of corruption in high places will follow, and the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudices of the people until all wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed." That is supposed to have been Abraham Lincoln, but they question the validity of Abraham Lincoln ever actually saying that. I'm like, they're going to question the validity of that. That's a fly statement. It's revolutionary, but they're going to question the validity of that. But they don't question the validity of Christopher Columbus discovering America. That's still in the U.S. History books everywhere. They're not questioning the validity of that, but they're going to question the validity of this. So because the book is a novel, I felt that found the home there. So that's how the story begins, and I want people to jump out there. We just finished recording the audio book last night. So for these people who have trouble reading, we got the audio book coming out for y'all shortly. So I hope y'all can check us out. That's NinevehNovel.com. And who else has, a trailer for their book, a video for their book, a theme music for the book, so check us out. We create a YouTube channel. And Nineveh is Nineveh.
Oh yeah. I think our producer is
You got an
gone.
extra W.
He might not be able to change it.
Yeah,
But
it's all good.
what she'll do is, I'm sure Chevry will change it in the
Yeah,
thing. But
it's Nineveh, NinevehNovel.com. I'm Kymone Freeman, Angry Black Man in Therapy. Shout out to Damu Smith. Shout out to Harry Belafonte, and to the lovely, lovely Miss Micha Green.
well, thank you so much. I always appreciate you being here and just your support of the entire artistic community and community in general in DC. You are such an important spokesman for what is important and right and just here. And so I've looked at, as you know, I've looked up to you for so long, and so proud to call you a friend and colleague in the fight for all things justice here in the city. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, and again, congratulations on your promotion and your
Thank you.
continued rise. It's a beautiful thing to see. Beautiful thing
Thank
to
you
see.
so much. All right, everybody. As you all know, it is a busy day for us here at the Washington Informer. So we got a jet, but tune into all things Washington Informer by going to www.washingtoninformer.com and following us everywhere on social media at Wash Informer and Washington Informer TV. What else am I supposed to tell y'all? Oh, yes. Make sure you tune into Win TV on Friday. You all uh, may or may not be happy about this, but I am. Our amazing publisher is taking a vacation. So I'm sad that she won't be able to be on Win TV, but you get to hang out with me for a little bit this coming Friday from 12 to 1. So we have a lot of great guests. Make sure you check it out. And again, thank you so much to Kymone for being on the show. Make sure you check out Nineveh. It's an important tale. It's a great tale. And y'all know y'all got to read the book before you see the movie.
I
Okay.
need to read Water Life.
Yes. Water is life. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Peace.